Welcome into the latest edition of From the Pressbox. What's going on, Leroy? How are you?
Hello. Busy week. I'm sorry, that light is just constantly right.
You are very shiny today.
I'm very yes. It's very.
Do you have a hat?
I do. Hold on.
Yeah. Can you? It just it just doesn't. Like, if I'm being honest, it's. I feel like my sunglasses are out in the car. There we go. That's an even better one. Yeah. It's like I needed to go get my sunglasses if it was going to get in you. I felt like
it was blinding, man.
Blinded by the light. Shout out to Manfred Man. Is that right?
Yes, Manfred Man's Earth Band.
Okay, I don't think I would have been able to get that. The rest of that. But, welcome to the show today. We got a lot to talk about, and we were having a show before the show, and then we were both like, "Why are we doing this before the show?" Nothing that we're talking about right now can't be said on air. I mean, Leroy was just talking about how much he despises Paul Reeves. I was like, you could just say that to his face.
That's true. That's true, because
he's not here yet.
Is 4-2 thanks to somebody having a lot of success in London.
Not DJ Moore, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Question. We're going to get to this in a minute because we have to recap our pick contest, and we can come back to this. But did DJ Moore have a touchdown that was then wiped off?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was not watching. What was I doing? I don't even remember what I was doing. I was like maybe doing dishes or doing something, and I got the notification said touchdown DJ Moore, and he's on my fantasy team, and I was like, yes, like great, because I had a big game. And then I went back and checked maybe 15 minutes later, and he had 4 points, and I was like, what the hell happened? So it got wiped off.
So Caleb had an interception right away on the very first drive. That was like a 40, maybe 45-yard pass that Caleb, as soon as he threw it, it was one of those things where, hey, no, you missed the first 30 seconds of the show, so you don't get to know what happened with the hats. But so as soon as Caleb threw it, you knew it was either going to be a touchdown or an interception. But it was drastically underthrown. And he got picked off. And listen, it happens. The biggest thing was I liked how he came back afterwards and still had a very good game. But later, he threw one to DJ that got pulled back for holding. So, yes, he did have a touchdown that was taken away. So, Keenan Allen had a good game, and DJ, it was nice. DJ went on social media and was like praising Keenan. So, at least publicly, he was. But that's a frustrating thing is you got three guys, right? Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. It's a nice problem to have, but for fantasy owners, it can be a real pain because there's so many different options that Caleb has to throw it to that there are days where it's just like, man, I appreciate Keenan getting into it, but as a DJ Moore owner, I get the frustration. Trust me.
Recapping our pick contest from last week, it was another interesting one, Leroy.
There's teams that won that shouldn't have, and teams that shouldn't have won.
So it started off, there was no Coug game last week.
Right.
No Coug game. Taylorville, though, traveled to Mattoon. And I picked, and America both picked the home team. And that was not the case, was it?
No, Taylorville looked really, really good. Listen, this is going to be one of those seasons that 10 years from now, Taylorville is going to sit there and go, man, what if? What if? Because Taylorville's first 3 games that they lost were all within one score. Were within one score. And it was almost like they almost went into those games expecting to win. Well, this has been a real down year for the conference. A lot of transition, a lot of quarterbacks that are in their junior year. In fact, Taylorville and Muhammad are the only 2 schools that have senior quarterbacks that are in charge. So Taylorville's gone through and cleaned up in the Apollo Conference. But, man, that non-con schedule is going to haunt them, I think, come playoff time. If they do make the playoffs, they need to win against Charleston on Friday to be able to secure their spot. But it's one of those things where there's Muhammad, who's in first place. Then you have like 4 teams that are all tied with the same record. So it's really going to be interesting how this breaks down over the next over this Friday night and for non-con next week for everyone, because I think there's still a lot of stuff that can change. But Taylorville's been playing really, really well, but they're going to kick themselves over that non-con schedule.
We will have our picks for that game a little bit later on in the show. I will be the only one that will pick that game, where Leroy and America will pick the Cougs taking on Seneca on Friday. We all three picked Kentucky. We don't need to talk about that. Leroy was the homer. My heart told me that was a heart pick and not a head pick for me picking Kentucky. It was a heart pick and not a head pick. And
I've done that.
Yes, absolutely. Northwestern, big win at Maryland. Dominating win.
They looked good. I knew that they won, but I couldn't watch the game, obviously. Saturday afternoon, I sat down and I watched the game, and I'm telling you, I know it's just Maryland, but they looked good in that game. It was nice to see.
We all picked Western to beat UTEP, got the point there. We all picked the Bengals to beat the Giants. We got the point there. We all picked the Bears to beat the Jags. All got the point there. We all surprisingly picked Oregon to beat Ohio State and all got the point there. But that's where it kind of stopped. I went with the Fighting Paul Reeveses against Marshall, and Marshall was up big. But then the Fighting Paul Reeveses of Georgia Southern came back and came away with a victory. We all picked the Lions to beat the Cowboys, and that did happen. It was close.
Yes.
Close.
Yes, very close. Very worrisome game.
We were sweating it about 30 seconds into the game. But after that, no, it was a blowout. And then, Leroy, you picked Oklahoma to beat Texas, and very similar to the Lions-Cowboys game, it was never close. Texas dominated. Final tally from last week, then. Leroy and America tie for second with 6 points, and I came away with a win with 7 points. Overall totals, 41 for myself. Leroy, you have 37, and America has 36.
My goodness.
That is the tallies from last week's edition of the pick contest. Alrighty, and I just realized that is incorrect too. I have 42. America has 35, I believe. I just realized that something screwed up in my spreadsheet, and I've not had the time to go back and fix it. And now I realized once again that I'm going to have to go back and fix it. So I have to make like a mental note right now to do that before next week's show. The NFL, or first off though, I do want to make sure that we ask, how's the old show?
It is doing much better. I am having some big muscle spasms, so I'm pretty sure that they took the bicep and like reattached it to a different part in my arm. But I went to go push a chair in at the Mattoon game, and it wasn't a heavy chair, but like I don't know if it caught the ground just right. All of a sudden, I felt what felt like a Charlie horse in my bicep. And Sam, I'm telling you, I have never felt that pain in my arm where I could not stretch it out. I was sitting there and like rubbing my bicep, trying to get the Charlie horse like out. And you're trying to call football, and I am just dying in the third and fourth quarter.
It has been very rare that I've had a Charlie horse, but I had one in the middle of the night about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like sleeping.
Yes.
And I remember I woke up, and I think it was in my calf is where I had it. And I was like, what is happening? Why does this hurt? It's like it's 3 a.m. I'm not even doing anything. And then I realized
it bothers you the rest of the day.
It did. Oh,
horrible.
Like I woke up the next morning and I went for a walk later, and I was like, I'm limping. Like, my God, am I getting old?
But Christy will yell at me, but I can do that.
She gonna come in here and smack you.
I know.
I'm waiting for that door to open, and we're just gonna see your head hit the laptop in front of you because she's smashing your face into it.
But the shoulder itself feels really good, really good. So I'm pretty excited.
Do you want me to warn you if the door opens behind you? Or...
Yes. I don't think I would be. It's funny because they give you. I've got PT coming up on October 30th. That's when PT starts. They give you a sheet. They give you a sheet of like, how much does this hurt? And little things like using a knife and fork. And I joked with Tim Zalback, who's a co-host of mine. I was like, you need to go to your car and get your goalie equipment and get your catcher's gear. So we'll just go out there and we'll check and see how much it hurts to do different sports activities. Because I can think one of the questions was like, how are your sports coming along or something like that?
Yeah, that is one. Because when I had my knee injury,
yes,
that was the thing. It was like, can you run? And I told the PT, I was like, I didn't run beforehand. I was like, I only run if I'm being chased. It's like, I don't like, and she just laughed. And I was like, listen, so I don't know, like, no. I was like, I mean, I sure as heck can't run right now, but it's not like I was doing much running beforehand.
I know it.
But NFL, busy week last week. And Leroy, I got to ask you the question. You kind of mentioned it a little bit. Are the Bears good?
I don't know. Now, the thing is, and I was saying to one of my...
Caleb Williams is pretty much the next coming of Patrick Mahomes. We know that.
It's really pathetic, and I was telling somebody else, I was actually in the NL Central Smack Talk group, and I was saying, I've already got him in the top 10 of quarterbacks for Chicago Bears history, which is crazy how pathetic quarterbacks in Chicago history are that I already have him in my top 10 of quarterbacks. But listen, he every game that he's played, he's gotten better. Now, is he a top guy? We won't know. We don't know until he plays some actual decent defenses. But every mistake that he's made, he's done a really good job of learning from and growing from it. He threw an interception on the very first drive of that Bears-Jaguars game. And it's one of those things where I've seen this game before. Throws an interception, going to go out there. The Bears offense will not get anything going, and they'll be lucky if they'll be lucky if they score 10 points in this game, or they'll win off some fluke interception that still makes everybody go, well, yeah, you won, but you shouldn't have. Now, mind you, I couldn't watch the game because I had church and then I had soccer, but I was able to watch a little bit of it on the way there. And one of my buddies, I was trying to avoid my phone. I got you. One of my buddies was like, "Oh, there's not going to be a single good quarterback from sure. There's not going to be a single good quarterback that's going to come from this draft." And I went, "Oh, Caleb must be having a horrible day." And barely. But you look at it and listen, if the Bears were just, that looks good.
Oh, let's try and I hate that it's not like, there you go.
Oktoberfest beer, that looks good.
It is. It's actually pretty decent. Rheingeist is a Cincinnati beer, Dan.
I said, it's if they were just squeaking by these crap teams like Carolina, the Rams, the Jaguars, if they were just squeaking by, I'd be a little bit concerned. But they're crushing them. This is the best I've seen the Chicago Bears offense since maybe I was a kid.
What is interesting, and this is not me like trying to troll you or anything like this. This is more just me stating a fact to you. I find it interesting that both of our teams have had different starts to the year. The Bengals are 2-4. They picked up the big win against the Giants, have a game against the Browns on Sunday. You look at that and teams in the future. The team that has the toughest schedule for the remainder of the season is
us,
the Chicago Bears.
Correct.
The team that has the second easiest schedule for the remainder of the season is the Cincinnati Bengals.
You guys.
So it's just interesting to see how this is going to go up. Because, listen, like the Bengals have played some decent teams this year. They've lost to the Chiefs. They've lost to the Ravens. The Patriots game, inexcusable. And then the Commanders, listen, Jaden Daniels, really freaking good. Like, he's been playing really good in that Commanders offense.
You can do the same thing with the Commanders that you can do for the Bears and say, look at who they played. The teams that have an above 500 record, the Commanders lost to.
Yeah, I guess. So who's the other Commanders lost? They lost to the Ravens and they lost to somebody else now, and I don't remember who it was.
Was it you guys know in the comments, was it the Dolphins that they lost to?
Giants, maybe?
Giants, maybe? Oh, yes, the Giants game.
I think they did
lose. It was the game of no touchdowns. It was like 15-12 off field goals or something like that. But the thing that, and listen, they have the Packers. The Packers are 4-2. Packers have a 60% chance of making the playoffs, according to NFL.com. The Bears have a 30% chance Okay, but are we just ignoring Caleb's numbers? Is that what we're ignoring? Because
they beat the Giants.
When you look at Caleb's numbers for the last 3-4 games, ever since that Colts game, his numbers have been. I mean, he had the highest passer rating this week. And again,
they lost to the Buccaneers.
And I'll tell you this right now, and you can hear me say it. You'll hear me say it multiple times throughout the rest of the season. I don't expect the Bears to make the playoffs. But already you can see the start of chemistry and the start of something good growing in Chicago. I don't freak out every time Caleb throws the ball. It has been a long time since I've not freaked out every single time my quarterback has thrown the ball. Bears fans don't know. Like, we joke with a buddy of ours who's a Patriots fan because he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't have a quarterback anymore. And I said, we don't know what to do because we have a quarterback. It's really bizarre. We don't know how to respond.
And again, this is me just being straight up. Like, I'm not trying
for him to suck.
I'm not trying to troll with this. I'm interested in when he plays real teams. Is how he goes.
Yes,
and I am too. Tell the stories. Yeah,
I am too.
What's he going to do against the Packers? What's he going to do against that Vikings defense?
What's he
going to do against the Lions?
Yes.
Like, what is he going to do against all of these teams? And that is going to tell the stories.
The thing is Bears fans have PTSD because the last time we had a bye week, the week after our bye week, we played the Packers, and everybody went into the bye week and was like, "Oh, we're gonna do great. We've got a whole 2 weeks to prep for Green Bay. We're gonna play them great. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that." And then Green Bay came out and stopped Chicago, and Chicago looked horrible. So I don't have a whole lot of confidence going into this last part of the season. Our last 6 games are against division opponents. Our last 6 games are against the Vikings, the Lions, the Packers. The NFC North has been amazing. Probably one of the best point differentials. We've been killing it. But I'm really interested in what he does when he gets sacked on that first play. When he gets that because so far he's overcome a lot of the here we go, another Chicago game. He's overcome that. What happens when it starts to get cold at Soldier Field? These are going to be the real tough things. He was taking his water bottle and spraying it in the air so he could see what the wind was at Carolina when they played against the Panthers. You know what it is in Chicago. You know what those temperatures are come November, come December. So I'm really intrigued with how he does with that cold weather.
John asks, thoughts on Justin Fields being benched. I find it hilarious.
Fields is only being benched so that Chicago cannot get that draft pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that you want to win.
I will not. There is nothing you can tell me that will change my mind.
I don't know.
The only reason he is being benched is because what was that meme that you sent, John, the other day that showed all of his stats and says something like, "Imagine being benched having these stats."
The Bengals, though, they picked up their big win on Sunday against the Giants. It wasn't pretty, but they won. And in all seriousness, that's all that really matters. Joe Burrow, you look at the stat line, and even if you watched it, you might have not thought he had as good of a game as he did, but he's playing at an MVP level. And it is just a really good sign that it was even one of those things that, we heard.
Does he look healthy to you?
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a, and I'm not I'm more just getting angry at that continually being a conversation. I'm just sick of that being a conversation because he looks fine. I've seen him throw every single ball he's thrown this year. I've seen him throw, on TV. I've watched every single play. It is just the Bengals defense, at least hopefully got healthy and is hopefully going to turn a page moving forward, because you're looking at it, their next couple of games. You've got the Browns on Sunday. Their offense is literally historically atrocious. He's moving that to keep it loose. He's said that many times.
But he was limp holding the water bottle, Sam.
And I even watched that, and he didn't pick it up weird. He just was picking. I don't know. I don't know. You missed the start of the show, Daniel.
You missed the start of the show.
You missed the start of the show
that's
to
from the
know
start
as
of the
to
show,
why.
my friend.
But it's, you got the Browns, you've got the Eagles, who is a beatable team. You've got the Raiders, and then you've got another game against the Ravens. So you're just seeing that you can potentially start to turn together some things. And you saw the Bengals should have beaten the Ravens when they played them here last weekend. So it's the hope that things are trending in a positive direction for them. A couple of thoughts on Sam Darnold not going to win comeback player. He shouldn't win comeback player of the year. He was a backup quarterback. He should not win comeback player of the year. I mean, listen, you know who the favorite is for comeback player of the year? It's Joe Burrow right now.
Coming off an injury? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what comeback player of the year is. Comeback player of the year should not be just because you are a backup and you get your chance.
Joe Flacco. Come on. It's got to be Joe freaking Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow's the favorite to win that. A couple of big trades in the NFL as well.
Yeah, there was a day where, what was it, Tuesday? There was a day where it was
yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah, where there was like 4 or 5 in a row.
Amari Cooper gets traded to the Bills. Devontae Adams gets traded to the Jets. And those are the two real big ones.
And then Cam Akers to the Vikings in a trade that was a complete reversal of the trade that happened last year?
I guess that one completely, to show how, that just completely went undetected to me, I guess, because it got overshadowed by the two big ones of Adams and Cooper.
But which trade helps their team more?
Cooper to the Bills, without question.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah, the Bills
I don't see the Jets. The Jets are going to jet.
I mean, it's more just the Bills have no receivers at all. I mean, the Keon Coleman, he might be good.
Amari's fantasy value is about to go way up.
Yeah, Valdez Scantling's going to be a Jet now that he got cut. It is absolutely going to be Amari Cooper. And yeah, if you have him, you're going to be excited because he's also going from a quarterback who is dog doo-doo and Deshaun Watson to a great quarterback in Josh Allen. I'm sure Jesus is loving right now what his Dallas Cowboys have been up to.
How hot, Jesus? How hot is a certain coach's seat right now? Is it hotter than Jacksonville? Because I tell you what, there is. I mean, when you've got Jerry Jones yelling at radio DJs for asking the hard questions, woo, that is not good. It is not good in Dallas right now.
It was on his birthday too. Poor Jerry's just wanting to sit there and celebrate his birthday, and they get literally. It's like they went to the dump and found the rustiest rod. You know,
I feel
got some spikes on it and just shoved it right up the Cowboys.
I feel sorry for whatever 23-year-old had to go home with Jerry that night, man. I feel.
Heyo. Listen to that whole interview, local station.
Yeah, Jerry yelled at the radio DJs for asking the tough questions. But listen, they didn't make any moves over the offseason. What?
None.
What? How do you expect?
And I mean, I'm curious, Travis, in all seriousness, when the Dak news came out, I immediately said, because it literally came out as we were getting ready to walk into the first game of the season this year. So we were out tailgating. It was one of those things that we were discussing, and we were like, what? Really? They're paying Dak that much? And I'm curious, you being the Cowboys fan, do you think they should have paid Dak? And I know the thing is okay, then he would have sat out or anything. But I just I've never watched Dak play and go, I mean, sure, he's had great moments and great sequences, but I've never watched him and gone, wow.
That's the top 5. I've never said that's a top 5 quarterback.
I've never said, oh, that's Joe Burrow. That's Josh Allen. I mean, I don't know that Lamar's in that category, but still,
Lamar's pretty close to that category.
You've never seen that a little bit too much. And I'm not even sure that Trevor Lawrence gets blamed for this. It's just that he's got nothing around him.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to me that the Cowboys are now going to have to pay the price, similar to the Browns, of paying a quarterback more than they are worth. Because if you're going to pay a quarterback that much money, they better be damn good. They better be damn good. And I don't know that, in fact, I don't think there's any question that Dak is not damn good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions in with that team, because there was already a lot of questions about that team coming into this year. There's already a lot of questions about that Dallas team and under what many people thought was underperforming last year in the playoffs, when that was probably a much better on paper team that probably should have gone relatively far in the playoffs that didn't. It's not the first time that we've seen in recent years the Cowboys underperform when they've needed to play well. So I'm really interested how long and how much of a leash Jerry gives these guys. Because
but here's the thing. Jerry just needs to look in the mirror.
He can't, and he can't help it. Because he created the situation himself. And that's got to be the most frustrating part of the whole thing, is he can't yell at anyone. He will, because it's Jerry, and that's just how he is. But when it comes down to it, if my boss scares away all of his clients because he makes bad sales pitches, the only person he's got to blame is himself. And it's the same thing. Jerry gives all these extensions to people that don't play well. Just under, yeah, well, yeah.
I'm fascinated by that Cowboys team. But they
looked awful. They looked like they did not belong on the same field with Detroit.
They didn't.
It's been a long time since I've seen a team play that bad.
Because I know Detroit was favored in that game. Maybe 3.5 was what it was.
Yeah.
And I think I even bet Dallas just because I was like, they can't be this bad all the time at home, can they? Woo! Yes.
They were so bad, they blurred out their score when they posted the attendance for the year, man. Or the attendance for the game.
I just can you imagine not winning in the playoffs? I wouldn't know.
The Bears aren't horrible. They've always just been average. It's the same problem we have with the Cubs. The Cubs have only had the worst record 4 times in the last 100 years. They just are an average team. And that's the problem with the Bears. The Bears have finished last place, I think, 3 times or 4 times in the last 20 years. They just always finish third. They're not great. But they don't.
Well, you've also had some bad Lions teams in there.
Yeah, yes. Let's not act like the Lions have always listened.
I did appreciate too the Lions at the end of the game. They were throwing touchdown passes to their offensive linemen, just literally, just trolling to the largest extent that they possibly could be. I know you mentioned as well that you wanted to talk about NCAA transfers because you wanted to be old man yelling at the cloud, correct?
Listen, I don't even have a problem with the transfers. My problem is that the NCAA did this to themselves. You know how many teams did not have a transfer this year?
Probably not many.
4. And 3 of them are military academies.
So 1.
The only school that did not have a single transfer was Clemson, which was not a military school.
Interesting.
Okay. Otherwise than that, and I think I don't have the meme that I sent you or the stat that I sent you in front of me, but the amount of players, 50. That's right. It was 50 players that played for 4 schools in the last 4 years.
Does that bother you?
Yes, that is an NCAA problem. You're not going to school for an education at that point.
Maybe they're just trying to get the best gen eds they possibly can. I mean, maybe Northwestern has a really good history department, but Maryland has a better science department. Did you ever consider that, Leroy?
No, I am a horrible person. No, I did not consider that. My goodness.
You're an a-hole. That's what they're saying now.
But I'm telling you,
I don't care.
I know.
Let the kids do what they want.
Yeah?
Let the kids do what they want.
So forget integrity, forget loyalty to a program.
Integrity? When's the last time we had integrity? We're talking about the NCAA. When's the last time we had integrity and loyalty? I mean, it's the argument that everyone makes, but let's say that a college basketball team, for some reason, sees your film against the Jazz and they're like, you know what? We got to hire that guy. Clearly, he's a basketball savant.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you go 500, and another school let me another school, and you go 500. Another school's like, wow, maybe he actually does something. What it is, and then the next, another school calls you, and you can move there. And then if you do a little bit better, another school goes, and you can move to another school.
That's not how this works.
If you're a coach, you can do it. Why the hell is it any different? Why do you want me to cuss so much, Dan? Leroy, do you want to cuss?
No, I don't. I don't necessarily think that they need to have it like it was before. Because the way that it was before was you got to transfer once, unless there was like a family emergency or like a coach got moved.
But even then, it came in like there was the example that I'm thinking about. It was a kid in Virginia. I don't remember what school it was, but he was trying to transfer closer, and I think it was his second time transferring, but his second time was because his mom had brain cancer, and he wanted to be closer to her because she had like 6 months left to live, and they denied his transfer. And those are the reasons why I think you just open it up and let it happen, because then you don't have to have is the brain cancer actually terminal, or does she actually maybe have 16 months to live instead of 6 months? And that's why I say just open it up, let them do whatever the hell they want. And that's what they're doing anyways.
I think you're going to run into, the issue in our town right now is our town has way too many gambling places. Okay. Now the logic from a business standpoint, I'm going to get to it's going to be a long way to go, but I'm going to get to my point. They're building way too many gambling places in our town. And our mayor has said, listen, as long as people keep going to the gambling towns or gambling places, we're going to keep putting more and more in. At some point, you have to figure the scales will lean the other way, where there will be too many for these people. And I'm going to compare that to college football in the sense that a college football team has 50 scholarships per year, right?
90.
90 scholarships per year. At some point, we are going to get to that point in where the scales are going to tip, where there's going to be more people transferring than people than scholarships that are available.
So should that make the NCAA tell kids they can't transfer?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at some point you got to figure that this is going to catch up to these kids who are going to get screwed out of going to. I don't know why Notre Dame's the first school that came to my head, but and then when they go back to Purdue, that scholarship.
Should it be the NCAA's business though to make rules to stop that from potentially happening? Do you understand what I'm asking?
But they're not going to.
So you think it should be their business?
I think there should be.
And see, I
think there should be, but they're not doing it. So you're going to run into that situation where at some point, I bet the NCAA will get sued by some parent, some rich millionaire parent whose kid got screwed out of scholarship because he went to go transfer to Penn State, and Penn State already had all their scholarships full.
And you know what
when he went to go back to Purdue. Purdue is like, no, screw you. You left. We're not.
The NCAA and a parent, they'll probably tell them is tough shit.
Right.
There you go. Happy Dan.
Great, Dan. Now I got to put the parental advisory warning on Spotify. Thank you.
How many times have you sworn, you jackwagon?
No, but I do think that they're going. If the NCAA does not step in and fix it, and I don't think that they will. And again, we can argue about whether or not they should. We can spend all night arguing about whether they should or not. But if they're not going to, the market will take care of itself.
Are we?
50-50.
Speaking of adults, where the hell's Paul Reeves?
You haven't seen him?
No. You got to say Caleb Williams 3 times and he appears.
Caleb Williams is a god. And he's the greatest quarterback that's playing in the NFL right now.
If he appears in the next minute, I'm going to die. Like it's literally
Caleb Williams. There is not a single person that's playing football right now that is better than number 18 in Chicago.
I'm waiting for him to know he's just gonna appear. It's literally like Bloody Mary. You say it and yeah, exactly.
Dan, your comment I thought was Paul at first, and I was like, oh.
I don't know. It hasn't worked yet, John. It might. Either that or we got to be too careful. He might like pop up behind us or something. It might not be Christy walking through that door that's Becky and it's Paul. You never really know. Do you have tidbits?
I do. We have a lot to get. We have a lot to get through. So let's get started here. Okay. The Tampa Bay Rays, Hurricane Milton absolutely decimated the city of Tampa and the city of St. Pete. First time St. Pete and Tampa have been hit head on by a hurricane in 103 years. Pretty crazy considering. The cost to fix the roof will be 9 figures. The field does not have drainage because it was indoors. And Tampa Bay Rays are unsure of where they will play next year, which means Oakland has the opportunity to do something really, really funny.
Montreal?
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to play at there. So their spring training facility is about 25 miles. I figure that's where they'll play. But it does create some interesting situations where you have like New Orleans, right? New Orleans has always wanted to have a Major League Baseball team. And no, $9 million. And listen, they're insured. The city of St. Pete will pay for it. It's just a matter of, do you put all that money into a stadium when you're getting a new one in 2 or 3 years? Because they're supposed to, 2028? 2027 is when, yeah, I know.
Are they, though?
Ohio State played Oregon this week. Oregon picked up the win over Ohio State thanks to some crafty work with a penalty for 12 men on the field. Well, the NCAA has said, good job, don't ever do it again. And they have banned that move moving forward. So much like the intentional foul to send the other team to the free throw line, that is not allowed anymore. Sam, do you have an update on the WKU-Sam Houston game?
Final Tops win.
Good. Green Bay Packers are wearing white jerseys this week against the Texans. I tell you what, I like the white jerseys when the Bengals wear them. I don't know if I like these white jerseys that the Packers are wearing. Maybe it's just my hatred for Green Bay, but
maybe. Well, you get the white out next week for the Bengals against the Eagles.
So the I called the soccer game for college on Sunday, and I have it off my chest later on that I'm going to get to about that soccer game. But the crazy thing to me was how many times players went down for injuries in the soccer game. It was pathetic. Guys wouldn't even get touched and they would fall down. It reminded me of a Mississippi game that I watched also this weekend, where players were going down because the sideline was telling them to go down. Is this something that you've seen an increase of in the last 4 or 5 years, Sam? You watch a whole lot more college football than I do. I watch Big Ten primarily, but
and the offenses in the Big Ten are not the offenses that they're doing this for.
Thank you. So I ask you, is this something that is a problem that NCAA might need to step in and fix?
Can you fix it?
And how?
And
how do you fix it?
You can't fix it because what happens the one time that he's actually hurt?
Right.
It's boy who cried wolf.
Yep.
It's boy who cried wolf. So I don't know how you fix it.
Hockey news. Hockey honored late Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, who were killed earlier this fall in a biking. They were hit by a drunk driver on their bikes. Some really, really powerful ceremonies. If you have not seen them, even if you're not really a big hockey fan, I strongly encourage you to go watch them. They're really, really good. And those are tough. Those are tough to get through. He's a big part of, and I'm glad they focused on when he was with Calgary. They focused on when he was with Columbus, and there will be 2 guys that will be really, really missed as far as hockey goes. Sam, I know you're entering data, but can you hit the WNBA music?
Yeah, I'm trying to update my. While you're talking, I'm doing our. There it is.
The Lynx and Liberty are playing in the WNBA Finals right now. They drew 1.1 million fans for Game 2. Just to put into perspective, Caitlin Clark had 2.1 million for her last game that she played before they were eliminated. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she will get $10,300 or Rookie of the Year for Rookie of the Year, averaging 19 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. She led the league with 122 three-pointers and set the record for most assists in a single game with 19, and for an entire season with 337. She's the first rookie to achieve a triple-double, which she did twice. Member of the All-WNBA first team, including Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Caitlin, and Alyssa Thomas. Other hockey news, Sidney Crosby is the first player to reach 1,600 points since Jeremy Yeager in 2011, and Malkin hit his 500th as well.
That's not even that. I mean, like 1,600 points, like LeBron did that in like a year at the NBA.
I know. These darn hockey kids, man. We got some more hockey stuff coming up in a little bit. Our tidbits were really kind of just hodgepodge tonight. The Jaguars are staying in London as they get ready to take on the New England Patriots in what will be a horrible game. And my question to you is this something that we're going to see in the next 10 years of having a team that will play most of their games in England?
I don't know. But I mean, it makes sense.
You and I have had this conversation before.
It makes sense that the Jaguars did this, though, because they were there this past Sunday. They're there this Sunday. Why would you go back?
Yeah.
Like, why would you go back? And I don't disagree with what John says here. Jags do get an advantage for being there, without question. Jags aren't going to stay there, though, long term, because they literally just got approved earlier today for their brand new stadium, or yesterday or something.
Good. All right. Gary Bettman, commissioner for hockey, pretty upset. Streaming for hockey numbers have gone way down this year. In fact, the WNBA was receiving higher watches than NHL hockey was. And Bettman wants to get rid of blackouts, which will open up a whole lot more, and cut down on the multiple different channels that have hockey. Now, I laugh at all of this because Jerry Reinsdorf, who owns the Bulls and the Blackhawks, introduced a brand new Chicago sports network about 2 weeks before the season started, and NBC Sports Chicago disappeared. And now, unless you have DirecTV or an antenna, you cannot watch Bulls, Blackhawks, or White Sox baseball. Thank God for Little Mercies. But no, it is irritating a lot in Chicago. Who can, as a person living in Illinois, I can only watch the Bears and Northwestern on regular TV. None of my other sports teams I can watch without having a package. And I know I feel like I've been yelling a lot lately, but it's super, super frustrating because numbers are going down. The big reason why I can't get into soccer is because it's not on regular times. I can never find the game to watch.
It's on Apple TV.
Right. Okay. The NHL has to do something. And listen, and the nice thing is the NFL, they've kind of got it figured out. Really. And I know they have less games than everybody else does, but Red Zone, fantastic. The NFL is probably one of the best as far as being, and I know a lot of people are upset because the NFL is starting to get that way too, where this week it's on Peacock, this morning it's on NFL Network, this tonight, but they're probably the best ones out of all of them as far as fewest channels to flip between to find a game. But I don't know if the direction that all of this streaming stuff is going is it's all greedy, it's all money. And at some point, the fan base is going to get turned out. It's stupid. I hate it. Tom Brady, 5% minority owner for the Raiders, so he can never play football again, at least in the NFL. Super Bowl announced back to Atlanta in 2028. Aaron Rodgers throws another Hail Mary as the game expires. A fantastic shot that I was convinced was not a touchdown until I watched the replay. Lonzo Ball is finally playing basketball tonight. At least I think. I can't get the game because I don't have DirecTV. Ruth Shepengedich broke the 2 hour and 10-minute mark in the marathon. She's the first woman to break the 2 hour, 10-minute marathon marker with 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 56 seconds.
How long would it take you to run a marathon?
9 hours, and I would probably die about mile 18.
Over. I'm taking the over.
Are you?
For you.
Come on, I was in the Army.
You're telling me that you'd survive it right now.
This moment?
Yeah, like listen.
How much training do I get? How much training do I get?
No, I'm saying this
like right now.
Okay, tomorrow morning. You get to get out there tomorrow morning.
No way.
Yeah, you're not finishing.
No.
Because, I mean, let's be real. I was blinded earlier before we went on air. You took your shirt off for some reason, and I just look over, and listen, you're not in marathon shape.
I'm not in marathon shape anymore. I'm an old fat guy. Tylee Kraft, North Carolina Tar Heels wide receiver, has died of lung cancer. He was 23 years old. We already talked about Dallas and their problems. Yankees lead the Yankees lead the Guardians 2-0. Mets and Dodgers tied at 1, but the Dodgers were up 2-0 as of the 5th. I don't have an update on what that game was.
I am loading here, killing time. 7-0 Dodgers now.
Okay. In NASCAR news, Alex Bowman makes the playoffs, then fails his weight in post-race inspection. He was eliminated from the playoffs, which allowed Joey Logano, who was eliminated, to get back in. Now, they gave Bowman every chance to make weight. They allowed him to refill his water. They allowed them to put air back in the tires. They allowed him to do quite a lot to get to weight. And Hendricks did not appeal. So he had to have been way, way under. They didn't list how much under he was, but Bowman clearly committed some pretty serious penalties. Regardless, he is out of the playoffs. The final 8: Kyle Larson in first, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron in yellow, and in chance of being eliminated, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano. David Montgomery for the Lions signed a big extension. Hutchinson gets hurt in one of the gruesome injuries I've seen in quite a while. And it'll be interesting to see what the Lions do to try to, if anything, I've seen couple different things, signing somebody from the practice squad or trying to go after a couple other players. But I'm interested to see what the Lions do about trying to fix that. But yeah, that was a pretty gruesome injury.
Yeah, not great. Not great.
All right, and those are my tidbits.
And that means it's time to cue the music.
Let's do it.
For Leroy's Logos, AI edition continued.
Oh.
I was told too easy this week.
Oh, okay. That does not help me at all. But
too easy is what Mick said. In fact, he got them all almost immediately. And I was like, crap.
Which means I'm going to overthink all of these. And
404 is what you're hitting. Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I will go with 1.
1. For 1, really good looking logo. AI, good job. Isn't it?
I like it.
I'd buy a hat if I was a fan of this team with that logo on it, without question. Do you think you know it?
Arizona?
And remember, you do get your cheat. Could you want to use?
I really, really need Paul here, and he's not here tonight.
What is your guess?
Yeah, I'll go with Arizona.
Arizona, are you locking it in?
Yeah.
Correct. That is the Arizona Wildcats into Arizona.
I'm telling you, I'm already overthinking this stuff, man.
Arizona, use this logo. Use this logo. It's really well done. 2, 3, or 4?
2.
2. AI kind of struggled a little bit with this one here.
Well,
Do you think you know?
If it's who I think it is, they meant well.
What are you thinking?
I think it's Texas A&M.
Oh. Would AI screw it up that bad?
Yeah, well.
Would AI screw it up that bad? Texas A&M, are you locking that in?
Yes.
Texas A&M is correct. Texas A&M.
Even Christy got that one, man.
Even Christy got that one. Okay, would you like 3 or 4?
4.
4. 4. Not to put any pressure on you, but we could have something that's only happened one other time in the history of Leroy's Logos. You're on pace. Not to put any pressure on you, though. I would never want to do that and put pressure on you, even in the least. Okay. What are you thinking?
I'm going to ask the audience.
Ask the audience. He's using his cheat. Christy says, Bulldogs. I know that's a huge help to you. And John says, Georgia. Your wife is a big help, Leroy. I know. What are you thinking?
Well, see, I first thought Georgia, and then...
Well, now Christy is coming in to say Georgia, but I think she might be
Mississippi State is also the Bulldogs, and they have they're more of a maroon. Yeah, I'll go with Georgia.
Locking it in?
Yep.
What do I always tell you?
Go with my gut.
And what's your gut?
Georgia.
Correct. It is Georgia. Georgia is on his mind. And now your final one, you don't have any cheats. That was too easy this week. I'm getting soft.
Yeah. That does not mean next week you go super hard.
Oh, it's done. 0 out of 4 coming next week, guaranteed.
I already know it. I'm not 100% on this one.
Really? What are you thinking?
Syracuse.
Why?
The S and the orange logo, and because I don't think that the AI quite understands what an orange man is.
Mm-hmm. But then again, as we have learned as well, that AI's letters mean nothing. Remember Western Kentucky, however, tried to spell it?
Yes.
Not close. Not close. In fact, I can even try and pull that up really quick, maybe. Okay, I can't find it really quick. Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, where'd it go? Yeah, I mean, like, what was it trying to spell here again? With it? Like, what?
The WKU Rats. I don't know what you're...
Or a bird. Is that a bird? I don't even know what.
Literally, every time I look at it, I think it's a different animal.
Uh-huh. What is your guess, Leroy?
I'll go with Syracuse.
Syracuse. Locking it in. Final answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes! And Paul's not here!
For the second, isn't it really that, like, you have now gotten 4 out of 4 twice, and I think Paul has not been here both times. Isn't that true?
Yes!
Oh my goodness. That's honestly, like, kind of funny now. Maybe it is. Maybe Paul just knees weak, arms heavy, vomit out his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. Yeah, I went too easy this week.
Paul just makes me nervous, man.
He does. 412 is what you're hitting here. So, yeah, John says 2 easies. That means I need to make it harder next week. Okay.
Noted. John!
Noted. Christy even got 2 right.
Yeah.
Need to be hard.
Yeah.
Time for our play clock segment, 40 seconds. I got some interesting questions for you here this week, Leroy's, but would you like to ask or answer first?
I will answer. I will answer first. I asked last week.
Conversation on KSR earlier today.
Great.
Gentleman called in, a little older than you. I think he said he was 49, so a little older than you. And he said his pet peeve in basketball. Pet peeve.
Great.
Drives him crazy.
Great.
Is when players wear shoes that are two different colors. So, like when they wear a purple shoe and a pink shoe. Does that bother you, Leroy?
Now, if you've known me at all, if you've been in a class with me, or you've been married to me, or you spent any amount of time with me, you know that I have a thing for bright, flashy shoes. I've always had, ever since the Army, I've had a thing for bright, flashy shoes. In the past, kickers used to wear two separate shoes because they'd have a kicking shoe and they'd have. I 100% support wearing the most outlandish shoes you can possibly have. If you want to wear a black shoe and a lime green shoe, go for it. I am all for it 100%. Love it.
So not your pet peeve then in basketball?
No. I want to see the most outlandish shoes you've ever had in your life.
I know what else is not your pet peeve is over the back.
That's not a real thing.
I'm ready to answer your question.
That's not a real. Find me over the back in the rule book. You can't do it.
Calm down. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Do you need to take a deep breath? Okay.
What sport is the easiest to cheat in and not get caught?
Well, clearly it's the NFL, because if you just ask Kansas City, they've got it figured out. I mean, college sports. Can I just say that? Because, and especially right now where, as we just talked about, you've got the free-for-all where, I mean, if you have the most money, you can buy the best roster right now. And there's really no rule or no way to stop you when it comes to that. So I'll just say college sports as a whole. I mean, baseball, I think people get the most creative in the ways. I mean, trash cans.
Yeah.
Trash cans. Like 25 years ago, would you ever think trash cans could be used to help cheat? No. But baseball has always been the sport that people find any way that they can.
Cool.
It has gotten chillier over these last couple of days.
I know.
I hate it personally. But I would assume in your household that since you are the man of the house, right?
Yeah.
That you are the one that controls the thermostat, right?
That's up for debate, but yes.
You are the one that controls the thermostat, though, I would assume. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Does Christy touch it?
Yes. Okay. Actually, she touches it way more than I do, but yes. Okay. That's funny because we just had a big conversation about this tonight.
Okay, so it might be the question that I'm going to ask you. At what level? Nope. Is he not the man of the house? Is that what you're saying too, Christy, or what? Or what is this? I obviously live alone.
Yes.
And my house right now is probably at about 64 degrees because I have not turned my heat on.
Oh,
at what point
does the
heat
I had it on last night. It was 68 in my house. It was 68, and I was like, go. And the thing is honestly, and Christy's right, I don't really touch the thermostat too much. As long as it's working, as long as it's 71, 72 in the house, I'm fine with it. Now we will keep it a little bit cooler at night, but for the most part, as I've gotten older, I've decided that I just want to be comfortable. If I want to wear, 3 layers going outside, then I'm going to wear 3 layers because I just want to be comfortable. But I pretty much let her control the thermostat.
So you're telling me that when I woke up this morning, it was 58 degrees inside my house. That would be too cold for you?
I would have quietly complained.
See, because I've been going back and forth on whether I want to turn the heat on.
Yeah.
And like tonight, it's.
Do you pay for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Alexa, what's the low tonight? Alexa, what's the low tonight? Let's see. So it's going to be 35 degrees tonight here. And right now it is, I can even just ask her what the temperature. Alexa, what's the temperature inside? So So it's 67 degrees right now in this office that I'm in right now. So that means that it'll probably be about 57, 58 when I wake up in the morning. So you're saying I should turn the heat on tonight.
I've been really frustrated because this year, especially because of UIS, I've had to call a lot of games outdoors. Baseball, softball, soccer. It has been so cold this year. It was cold for baseball and softball. Like the last week of the season was the first time I didn't wear a coat. And then the soccer game was 35-mile-an-hour winds, and I was freezing my butt off calling soccer. I've been super frustrated over how cold it has been, specifically on days that I have to go outside and call sports. Because nothing's worse than trying to broadcast and having your teeth chatter.
You sound so old right now. It's so
fine.
cold.
That's fine.
Do you need your hot coffee and...
That's fine. I fully embrace it.
I'm ready to answer your last question, too.
We talked about the Aiden Hutchinson injury today, so I'm going to ask you, over all the sports that you watch, so I know that's mainly college football, NFL, MLB, what injury was the most impactful?
It does Damar Hamlin count? And I would say yes, I think it does count. Because that's without question. I was there.
Yes.
Damar Hamlin. Last year, Joe Burrow getting hurt, that hurt. You think the Kevin Ware injury for U of L?
Yeah.
That one hurt. But, the Damar Hamlin, the fact that I was there, I will never forget that.
How quiet was that stadium?
It was that stadium, because that game was like January the 2nd. And it was uncharacteristically warm. It was like 60 degrees at kickoff. And it was a night game. Monday night football. And I'm going to go over my time here. I have never been in a stadium so amped up for a game. Because if you remember, that was like I guess it was like 10-4 or something like that. Both those teams were
playoff implications, right? Like big playoff implications.
So it was like the biggest Monday night football game. I think it was like the first time that two teams played on Monday night football with 10 plus wins in like 30 years or something. It was some wild stat I remember. Stadium was nuts. Like, it was, I can't describe to you how loud it was. And it went from shaking to the only thing I could hear was Mick crying sitting next to me. Wild. It was, and I loved it. Like I had friends, like people that I hadn't heard of in a while, but they knew that I went to games. They were like, what's happening? They're texting me. I'm like, listen, you know more than I do. You're watching on TV. Because at the moment, it took us probably 5 or 10 minutes for us to realize this wasn't like an ACL.
It's crazy how when you're at a stadium, how you get information, like IndyCar, right? Like it rained at IMS this year, and you'd sit, and wait. You have to wait for everything to clear up before you can go back out there, and word would travel among everybody that was sitting waiting quicker than it would over the broadcast, over the public address announcer talking over what was going on. It's just crazy how like at games, word will travel, like especially for like if there's a penalty that happens that nobody knows about, like you'll find out from people sitting next to you quicker than you will.
So the people that sat to our right, and I missed them. I think they moved seats because they didn't like sitting on the end because they had to keep getting up and letting people out. And so they ended up selling their seats and moving around somewhere else. But she zoomed in with her phone, and her phone had like extra zoom or something like that, and she saw that, and that's when we were like, oh, this is not ACL, this is not a because we just assumed, okay, it's a
broken leg,
because we were in the upper deck. We're not supposed to know that it was something because we barely even saw it happen, and then when the ambulance came out, that's when we realized, like, oh, this is real. But yeah.
Crazy.
Do you have drivers or your game, or do you want to jump into picks and then we'll get to your off my chest? We'll do picks and then you're off my chest. Or do you have any of your games?
The games I have games. Yeah. Picks?
No.
Drivers. I don't have any drivers.
Okay. Or logos or anything like
Nope,
that.
I got nothing this weekend.
Okay. So, but let's do picks, then we'll do an off my chest, and then we'll close it out.
Yep.
How's that sound?
Yep.
We'll get everybody fired up to end us out. So it's the pick contest time. Again, the stats are I'm in first. It is 42. Leroy is 37. America is 35. So we ask you, America, right now. You will be able to pick these games, and we started off with a big one in Louisville, Leroy, as the 6-1 Cougs travel to Louisville Seneca to take on the 3-4 Redhawks. If the Cougars win, they will win back-to-back district championships for the first time in school history. Leroy, Cougs or Redhawks? In America, you are picking this game. You are not picking the Taylorville game.
Cougars.
Leroy is taking the Cougs. And John is picking, saying Cougs. And Leroy, our views are a little down today, so I think it's just going to... America's pick is a.k.a. John's pick this week. So Leroy, he is picking the Cougs as well. Leroy, I only get to pick the Taylorville game this week.
Yes.
And set us up.
Taylorville comes in 4-3 on the season, I believe. I haven't done my research yet, and my brain's not working the best tonight. I know Charleston is still looking for their first win on the season, or first win in the conference. I think they have 2 wins, but I think they're looking for their first win in conference. Yes, you are.
John is America today, unless Christy wants to pick too. I think.
Yes, Taylorville Tornadoes take on the Charleston Trojans. The game is in Charleston. Taylorville.
How far away is that?
An hour. This is a must-win for Taylorville, but it's been a must-win for Taylorville for the last 4 weeks.
And they'll get the win. Which, sorry, I don't think I've predicted a Taylorville game right. In fact, I kind of want to look and see here. I missed that one.
I don't think you have.
I literally do not think I have picked a single Taylorville game right all year long. Oh, he'll rewatch it tomorrow. No, I have missed every single Taylorville game this year. Which
great.
Honestly, Leroy, is more impressive, I think. What did I just do? I just literally... Did I get rid of something?
Undo.
I see what I did here. We're all okay. But yes, I'm picking Taylorville. So congratulations, Charleston. Christy,
if they lose, all you'll get from me is just a ... in Messenger. That's all it will be.
Honestly, like I think it's more impressive for me that I've predicted every single one wrong. Like that is wild to me. Kentucky travels to Florida. Paul, if you're still watching, you want to stick around and at least do the picks. That's fine with us. Kentucky travels to Florida. Leroy, will the Cats bounce back?
Speaking of getting every single pick wrong, I will go with Florida for this one.
Leroy is picking Florida. I'm going to pick Kentucky. They usually bounce back when they play like crap. Paul picks Kentucky for America's pick right now. Paul then says Florida sucks. John says Florida, though. Christy, do you want to break the tie, or are we going to go to a coin flip?
Christy, you got to pick a team.
Kentucky or Florida? Kentucky or Florida? The other game that we have to get ready to as well is Northwestern hosts Wisconsin. I'm going to take Wisconsin in that game.
So this is a really interesting series because the home team has won every year for the last 8 years.
Christie's taking Kentucky, so America's pick is Kentucky this week. And yes, I did see the Georgia Southern game, Paul. I was the only one that picked Georgia Southern, so I got my point.
Yeah, congrats on your win, Paul. Very cool. I'll go with Northwestern.
Leroy Homer.
Yep, well, it worked for against Maryland. We'll see if it works another week.
Picking Northwestern. So again, Northwestern hosting Wisconsin. I screwed up last week and should have had us pick 2 WKU games since they already played earlier today.
Yep.
So we don't get a WKU game this week.
That's fine.
So I considered posting on Facebook and trying to do it that way, but because Leroy, we both would have picked the tops. and America
Mhm.
probably would have picked the tops, so
Mhm.
it doesn't. John is picking. I guess that's a Northwestern pick. Northwest side, best side. So I guess he's picking Northwestern. Paul will probably pick. Christy is sending you a message, Leroy.
Is it boobies?
I'm just gonna take him off screen now for a few minutes here. After that, Paul is taking Northwestern. Interesting. So I'm the only one going with Wisconsin. Bengals travel to the Browns. Leroy.
Who travels to the Browns?
Bengals.
Oh, Bengals.
Leroy's picking the Bengals. I'm going to pick
Browns
the Bengals
are,
as well.
Are trash.
Yeah, we don't need to see any more fingers. There's no question about that. Finger.
It was a finger.
Yeah, it's definitely not boobies for now, sure, Paul says. You might have gotten them, but now you're not. Now you're not.
I was not getting them.
Yeah, no, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Let's be real here for a second.
No, you weren't. You weren't getting anything. It was probably telling you to do the dishes or hurry up.
She's making food.
Oh, Christy, where's mine?
She didn't have enough to share with the class.
What's she making?
Burritos from like Taco Bell burritos. Like she has a recipe for like.
Are they better than Taco Bell?
I don't. She has. This is the first time she's made them, so we're gonna find out.
Looks like John is picking the Bengals. I'm not sure if America has anything else. No Bears game this week.
Can't lose.
Okay, I get to make our first pick of the week.
How you know me, Paul?
And we'll go with a big game of the weekend, Leroy. Georgia travels to Texas.
Yeah. Listen, I made the mistake of not taking Texas last time. I'm not going to make that same mistake this time. I'll take Texas.
And I'm going to take Georgia. I think that Georgia, they lost at Alabama. I don't think they lose two of them. So I'm going to take Georgia in this game. So Texas at Georgia. But this is the fifth. Like, if Texas wins, I will not be surprised at all.
This is such a good game. Listen, I know I'm a Big Ten homer, but my goodness,
There it is. We've missed this for the show today, Paul.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least he backs it up with saying he's a bigger loser being a Cowboys fan. We spent about 5 minutes talking about the Cowboys, so you'll have to go back and listen, Paul.
We did.
And then we tried to summon you earlier like Bloody Mary. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Georgia and Texas.
Like I said, I know I'm a Big Ten homer, and I will forever love what used to be the Big Ten. But
like UCLA and Rutgers and
see, I've even gotten fine with Rutgers and Maryland, but I just can't take these West Coast teams, man.
Well, you do know that there's the discussion, and it looks like we're going to lock in Georgia for America's pick this week. Leroy, do you know your game of the week?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, give it to us. And I want to come back to SEC Big Ten.
Number 24 Michigan heads to the Illini to take on number 22 Illinois.
You and your Big Ten games.
Bro, you literally picked all. Don't you start with me.
I mean, listen, that's a top five. Okay, Paul's actually taking Texas, so that means that we're going to have to do a coin flip. Unless Christy wants to break the tie. Make Christy break the tie, Leroy, between Georgia and Texas. Christy, break the tie.
I'll yell for her. Hold on. Hey. Sherry message.
She takes Georgia, so Georgia is the pick. God. Michigan at Illinois. I'll take Michigan. Who are you taking?
Illinois, I guess. Ugh. What was I thinking?
Such an ugly game. Paul's taking Illinois. John's taking Illinois. So Illinois.
Somehow they're both
is the
ranked.
pick.
Make it make sense.
Okay, my second pick of the week. I need to get absurd here, Leroy. We need a. Oh, and I found the perfect one.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
it's perfect.
Okay. Oh no.
On Friday night, the late game on CBS Sports Network, Fresno State travels to Nevada.
Paul, make him stop.
Fresno State at Nevada. Leroy, who wins?
You're gonna have to go back and watch the whole thing, Paul.
Yeah, you gotta see
the whole two hats. So we haven't told anybody what nobody was watching for like the first 5 minutes, so we're not saying you have to go back and watch if you want to know what happens with the two hats. I'll take Nevada. Nevada, my friend.
He's gonna take Nevada.
Are you gonna take Fresno?
I was gonna take Nevada, but since you're taking Nevada, I'm gonna go with Fresno State. Why not?
Other boy.
Shout out to Aaron Judge, right?
I haven't seen him. Have you seen him?
Paul George,
I haven't seen him since the playoffs started.
He hit a home run last night. Yeah, there you go. Can you name the mascots for Fresno State, Nevada?
The actual mascots or their nickname?
What's their nickname? What's Nevada?
I won't be able to do Fresno State. I can tell you that right now.
I'm pretty sure we've done both of those logos. In fact, here, let me see if I have it in my stash. And I'm curious if, and I want you to be honest in your heart of hearts if you think you would have gotten.
No, because all I'm thinking of is the Colonels for UNLV, but that's not the same place, is it?
No, those are different places.
No, Josh ruined it.
Oh, did you see him?
Yeah, I didn't private chat it. I'm sorry, I ruined it.
Would you have gotten either one of those?
No, I totally forgot it was the Wolfpack.
Yeah, Wolf Fresno State.
Totally. The only thing I was thinking of was UNLV, and I knew that wasn't right.
What's your last game of the week?
Lions at Vikings. Two actual decent teams.
Lions.
Yeah.
Make your pick in the comments too.
Yeah,
Vikings
you think
are frauds.
so? Sam Darnold?
Yeah, they're frauds. Who are you? So you're taking the Vikings?
Where's the game at? It's at Minnesota.
You said it was at Minnesota.
It's at Minnesota. Yeah.
It's like, where's the game at? That's what you said. I don't know.
I know. I wrote it down. I wrote it right. Yeah, I gotta gain some ground. I'll go with the Vikings.
He will take the Vikings. John is picking the Lions. America, who else do you have in our game? One of our games of the week. I hope the Cowboys don't play the Bears. That would be the saddest day in the world. Both teams will lose. Now I kind of want to see when that happens because I cannot wait. Well, I mean, the Cowboys play the Bengals in December. Paul's taking the Lions. And the Bears play the Bengals next year.
Yeah, they do.
At good old Paycor Stadium.
We're gonna figure this out too.
Next year, the Bears host the Cowboys.
Yeah, but will the Cowboys actually pick anybody up during the offseason? That's the big question.
Lions is America's pick. So I mentioned earlier I wanted to come back to it. So the SEC and the Big Ten have been talking, Leroy, and I don't know if you know.
Oh, go ahead.
About what? About in college football of creating a scheduling partnership. And you know how in college basketball they do like the SEC ACC challenge.
Yes.
Where they set up the start of the season, they say, here are the matchups.
Yeah.
And they're talking about doing that in football between the SEC and the Big Ten.
I would love it. I just don't want to play Vanderbilt every year.
And I'm fascinated by how they would.
Do you know the history of Northwestern Vanderbilt? Have I told you that story?
Yeah, because I think we talked about it when we were in Nashville as well.
And why my hatred of James Franklin exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he's Penn State's head coach, right?
Yeah. But he was Vanderbilt's head coach, and he messaged, for those of you in the comments section, Northwestern killed Vanderbilt 3 years in a row, and I mean like destroyed them. And when they got about 2 months before their game, because they were supposed to open up the season, James Franklin sent a text message to the athletic director for Northwestern, Jim Phillips, who is now the director for the ACC, and said, yeah, we're not playing you guys anymore. You're too good. We're not playing you. And we're like, bro, it's fine.
But I would be interested how they would do it.
I'd love it. I would love it. I really would. I
see.
Because
What would be interesting is it would maybe cause schools like Kentucky to end the series with Louisville, or South Carolina to end the series with Clemson.
Can you imagine UCLA versus Kentucky? Ugh.
And see, that's kind of the discussion point they've been having for like Kentucky fans is, okay, if it's like a random draw and like you get the potential of Kentucky playing Ohio State and Lexington, then that would be awesome.
But Kentucky versus Indiana in football?
And that's a rivalry. So that would be a rivalry in it. So that'd be, and this is not me crapping on you, but like Kentucky Northwestern does not excite Kentucky fans at all. And it doesn't.
That's just because you guys can't beat us.
Because you eject our best players. But like,
we didn't get rid of your best player. Y'all did that on your own.
You paid the refs. I saw you before the game. You left the Hooters a little bit earlier, and you went and you paid Chris Conroy, I think was his name. James Madison versus Georgia Southern.
Ooh.
James Madison wins.
Ooh.
Do you want to add that instead of our WKU game this week? James Madison, Georgia Southern?
Yeah, but we're all going to pick JMU.
Will we?
Fine. Go ahead. JMU.
Madison. Don't you want a free point? Okay. We're going to take it off then, because since Paul is even saying Paul won't even be the homer to pick that. Okay, so we're no longer doing that because I would pick James Madison as well. You have an off my chest, Leroy, right?
I do, and again, I want to stress.
Oh, wait! Paul's picking Georgia Southern, so America might go with Georgia Southern. No, we're not. I'm not going to let America do that and lose a 3 point. Okay.
So the whole reason that Sam and I started this show is to talk about our broadcasting and the impact that broadcasting has and our struggles and pluses, benefits that we have from broadcasting. I am the basketball and baseball and softball broadcaster for the University of Illinois Springfield. Coming into this year, because this is only my second year, our athletic director messaged us and was like, hey, I know you weren't here, but you actually also do soccer and volleyball. You're fine with that, right? And as broadcasters, Sam, you know that we don't ever say no. It doesn't matter what the sport is. Oh yeah.
I say no.
Do you? I don't say no. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I've called soccer before. Absolutely. 100%. So, long story short, I'm calling my third soccer game of the year. And I went to go print rosters before the game because I kind of got thrust into this at the last minute because I still didn't know if I was calling anything because of my shoulder. So I went to print rosters so I could at least look at what the names were before the game started. And when I printed it, it only printed the coaches. So I was already irritated that I didn't really have a roster other than the stats page that I wasn't alphabetical or numerical or anything. It was in order of most goals scored. So I get here and I get to the game, and the production ladies that are there are two foreign exchange students from either Pakistan or India. And they have to set up the computers for the game to start, and then they press a button, which is like the lower third, to like adjust the score, and they close down at the end of the day. But otherwise than that, they don't do anything throughout the whole game. So the game starts, and the girls' game goes well. Girls win 6-1. Boys' game, at the end of the girls' game, the wind starts picking up. And the wind starts picking up really, really good. The girls had some engineering tape, and they were using it to balance their computer. I don't know if they were worried that the computer was going to overheat or what. It was like 50 degrees outside. I promise you, this laptop was not overheating. And I said, hey, let me get some of your tape so I can tape down my rosters, because I didn't bring any because I didn't think it was going to be windy. And they said, oh, we need it. And I went to grab it because I thought they were going to say, you can have it. And I went, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, we can't give you any because we might need it. Okay, fine. So I just kept holding the papers. And this computer, as the wind is picking up, is like, the wind is taking this because it's sitting on top of this electrical tape. And I say the girls get up in the game and go sit somewhere else and are just sitting on their phones. So I look over at the laptop that's running my whole show, and I catch it one time as it goes to fall. And then I think, wait a minute. I'm not getting paid to watch any of this equipment. I'm getting paid to broadcast the game. So I stopped. 5 seconds later, you know what happened. Wind caught the computer, sent the Apple flying, and the girls come rushing over. And I looked over at them beforehand, like, are you guys going to come back over here? And like, but you're broadcasting, right? You can't stop especially in a soccer game, you can't stop your broadcast to be like, get your butt over here and do your job. So they ended up getting chewed out because Libby, my SID, was gone, but the actual athletic director came over and chewed them out and was like, I really need you guys to pay attention to what's going on the field. But I got so irritated, like, you literally have no job other than setting things up. I don't understand why you had to move to a different spot. And I guarantee it was like to get sun or something like that. But I know you have to do a bunch of setups for your games, and the last thing you want to do while you're trying to broadcast is worry about whether or not you're actually going over the air or not.
I have to do that every single game I do.
I know it. So I was like, and so I was being.
That's why I love doing
am I the a-hole because I just let the computer fall? But I'm so tired of having to do everybody else's job for them.
Oh, that's why I love doing the games at center, because I don't have to worry about any of that. And it was like, there was a game last year where they were having internet issues. I remember the poor SID, who I really like. Like, she's really nice. And it was clearly her job to try and fix it. And I was just sitting there, and I told her I told her at one point, I was like, listen, I said, if you need me to help, I said, you just tell me what you want to do. And then after the game, I told her, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I very much enjoy just sitting there, because usually that's me having to run around trying to fix everything. And I said, it was kind of nice being the one just sitting there for once. And I think she was just like, gave me the finger or something like that. I was like,
I'm just so tired of doing other people's jobs for them. Because the thing is I know for a fact that these foreign exchange students are going to get production jobs somewhere after UIS, and they're going to get, because they're going to get hired, and they're going to get all kinds of great stuff. And just irritating that yet again I have to stop what I'm doing to make sure that all of their stuff is taken care of on top of all of the responsibilities I already have, which was not a great soccer game. Actually, it was a great game. I just was not in the mood to call a 1-0 cold, windy soccer game. That players were falling down every 5 seconds because they were getting hurt.
Next week, who knows what we could be discussing. We'll have more pick contests, more logos, and everything. I look forward to it, Leroy. Hope you have a good week, and hopefully the tornadoes, I didn't jinx them.
I told you, all I'm gonna do is message you and be like,
because honestly, like, at that point, it's almost just funny. Because I think you had a stretch like that for the boys basketball team last year for Grayson.
Yes,
where it was like 5 or 6 straight weeks, you picked the wrong team. It was the opposite every single time.
Yep. Now it's your turn.
And honestly, it's 7 games in? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And I've missed all 7.
All 7 of them. That's impressive.
Yes, pretty hard. We'll see you next week. Anything else you need to get off, or we're already at an hour and a half? So
No, I think we're good. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us this evening. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you next week on From the Press Box.